let's move over to spec. So,
All right.
what you got for spec?
Well, spec's kind of goofy this week.
Goofy.
Yeah. First one, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, because of the knuckle thing.
Even before that, I was already specking on. Now that just put a spotlight on it.
Right.
A lot of those books, especially the older ones, the
Are
Archie
they all
ones,
done by IDW?
they're now.
Okay.
It used to be an Archie book.
Okay.
There are a ton of those books that have a really small print run. So, and there's
Like
some really obscure issues
5,000?
with newsprint variant, you know?
Is it like...
Yeah, like 5,000, you know, some of them. I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Idris Elba got announced as Knuckles in the new movie that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
So,
Did you watch the first one? I didn't watch the first one.
No. I've never been a Sonic fan, really.
Was when I was a kid. Like a talk of 5.
But when I picked up Sonic the Hedgehog, whatever, 13 or whatever it was the other day, because first appearance of Knuckles, and I knew exactly where one of my LCSs that they had a copy, so I went and I grabbed it, and then I picked up a couple of the later down the line issues and a couple
the low print run ones,
and then a couple comics where just Knuckles was on the front cover, and then he had his own book.
Oh, he did.
So I picked up Knuckles 1 through 5 or something. So now it's not being spec'd on a ton. Still, I mean, comic book guys aren't going to spec on Archie books don't get spec'd on a lot. Not by the wide variety of people. There's a niche audience like Archie books, you know.
Gotcha.
Like a couple of months back, I bought a couple Life of Archie books where on the cover, Betty and Veronica are like in like lingerie or something, you know, for like 3 issues where they're like eating popcorn, watching a scary movie. And that's the zombie Archie book. I put those 3 comic books into a auction on eBay and I bought them for $3 each. And I think it went for like $60, $70 or something. It was ridiculous. There's still a very small audience that really likes that stuff. So,
yeah.
A couple other things. Lumberjanes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be coming out. They've been working on it a while now, I believe. It's a cartoon. It's gonna be on, I think, Netflix. Because Lumberjanes is Boom, right?
Yeah, it's Boom. So it's gonna be Netflix.
So it's Netflix. That book is gonna go up a lot.
Lumberjanes, yeah.
Lumberjanes going to go up a lot. Right now, you can get like a 9.8 for like $300. Issue number 1.
That's not too bad.
No, and you can get a raw for, you know,
$100.
$100. But yeah, those, and again, that is early Boom. So some of those issues Lumberjanes are low print run.
What about, so that one was more kid?
Yeah, I mean, and
forward?
also I think it was more aimed at teen girls.
Gotcha.
I mean, but it's a book to look into if you think it's something you may like down the road. You need to get in now. If you wait
want it in your LCS, you want it now.
If you wait until winter, it's going to be out. You're going to be paying double.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dark Horse presents number 24, first work of Donny Cates. It's kind of rare.
Dark Horse what?
Dark Horse presents 24.
Okay. That's the name of the comic?
Yep. Dark Horse Presents was a long-running comic. It's where Alien and Predator got their start. You know, Buffy, Hellboy, all that kind of stuff.
So it's just introducing new
It's like an
stuff.
anthology book, like different little short stories. And
Gotcha.
one of the short stories is by Donny Cates in Dark Horse Presents 24. So that's a book to keep an eye out for.
So if you're a fan of Donny Cates and you just buy everything Donny Cates,
he has a following. So if that's, you know, if you want to have his first work, I mean, that's jump on that. Some others right now I've been specking on 1 in 100s, but from Marvel, DC, whatever, but from like 4 or 5 years ago. See what happens
when they first started doing it.
Well, here's the thing: a 1 in 100 comes out. like say this yesterday. Today's Thursday for us. Comics came out yesterday. There were multiple books that had 1 in 100s. So like Defenders had a 1 in 100.
Right.
Okay. So yesterday, that book to buy it was going to run you $80 to $100.
For a 1 in 500?
Oh, 1 in 100.
1 in 100.
1 in 500 is going to run you over $100, maybe $200 depending on the book.
Right.
500 if it's King, or $2,500 if it's King Spawn.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is these books, slowly over time, if it was not a popular book or something happened in the book,
then it goes down in price.
Yeah, you can get 1 in 100s from just a couple years ago for $24 to $25.
Okay.
At that point, that's a really good deal, especially if you pick up a low printed book.
Low print, 1 in 5, 1 in 100.
Yeah, 1 in 100, like a Miss Marvel or
but what's
Moon Girl,
what's
Devil
the
Dinosaur.
point of doing that?
Well, now then it's low print run, and then so Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur gets optioned, and all of a sudden you're holding a 1 in 100 of a book that had a
So you're saying
20,000 print run.
You're saying you have to go after low print run.
I mean, you don't have to.
100s?
I mean, you could also go after just covers you like. So I bought a 1 in, I think it was a 1 in 100 Spider-Man 700 Mobius cover, which was really cool looking. And I got it for like $30. That book was like $100, $150 the day it came out.
Right.
So it's always good to go back and look at that kind of stuff, those ratio variants. So I don't like to name LCSs and stuff. We're not being paid to promote anybody or anything like that. So
Right.
One of the stores I go to, they put their books, a lot of their 1 in 10s, 1 in 25s, just go out on the shelf with the regular books. So
Really?
if you get there and you flip through them, there'll be a bag and a boarded copy,
yeah.
and you
Okay.
can pull it out and there's a price on it.
It's usually near the back.
And so what they do is, after a couple of months, if that thing sits there, they take a price tag and they whack the price tag, they whack it in half, and they put it in their back issue bin. Mm-hmm. And so when you're going through the back issue bin, you'll find a 1 in 25 for $10. It's like that. So there are a lot, and especially stuff like Dynamite. There's so many variants,
Right.
that then all of a sudden there's a book that all of a sudden is getting spec'd on because it has a such and such character in it, or there was an artist that did this cover and that artist hit spikes. Well, then you go pick up those back issues or get online and you're like, oh, hey, this book was like $100 and now it's $25.
There you go.
So that's something to look at. And then 2 others. I got Hawkeye, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th printings of the Fraction Aja run. Kate Bishop's in those books. Kate Bishop is going to hit big here. November 24th, the comic book industry will be doing nothing. People will be coming out of the woodworks to buy Hawkeye books.
Really? You think that this will actually bring in new people?
I think Haley Steinfeld is a popular actress. I think she has a large following on social media.
And you think that people will actually start coming to
I
her?
think people are going to want, or they already do want her first appearance. It's Young Avengers #1. It's,
Isn't her first cover appearance of a Young Avengers 8?
No.
No.
Young Avengers 8 is, I believe, the first time they call her Hawkeye.
Gotcha.
But Kate Bishop is going to be very popular. She could end up,
She can break the barrier.
she could be the Batgirl of the Marvel Universe. Depending on if the show's good. Again, still comes down to that. But she's a very good actress. She's a singer. She's multi-talented. And she's going to promote this. She's going to promote Hawkeye everywhere. And
I wouldn't be surprised if she is already.
And people, I mean, a lot of it's secretive still.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
when
She posts
they
about it
release
already.
the date
Yeah.
or whatever, she's posting about it.
And I know she's a fan of she was a fan of being that character. Like, somebody got to her and said, hey, read this, look at this. You know?
And then she was like, I want to be this character.
Hell yeah. Like I said, a couple years ago, I think Joss Whedon was going to pick her to be Batgirl. And then Batgirl would have been bonkers for DC.
But they didn't do it.
No. And Joss Whedon ended up being a creep, so that all fell apart.
Yep.
But those Hawkeye books, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th printings.
Low print.
They're lower print runs, and they're weird looking books. Like, each one gets purpler as it goes, kind of thing.
Pick up the purple one, because her cover, her whole thing is purple.
Yeah, and so those variants, and right now they're still...
Are they still pretty low?
They're still pretty low.
We talking $20?
I bought a pack of like 8 different covers, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th prints. It was all a mishmash somebody put together. I bought it for like $20.
Dang.
$24 shipping, I think, with shipping.
That surprises me that it's still that low.
I mean, I keep finding them in the back issue bins at places too.
Really?
So
weird.
But
we're talking like the dog cover ones, and like the like kind of white. They're white with like a single color.
The one with the girl on the cover with the gun and it's smoking, and the original cover's red and then it goes to purple.
Really?
And
those are still that cheap?
You can still find them out there. And so
that blows my mind.
You only have August, September, October, November. You have 120 days
to find these before they go crazy. After
November 24th, on Thanksgiving Day.
No way.
At that point, they're gonna be too expensive. It won't be worth buying them at that point. You'll have to wait a year or 2 years to ever want to pick some up. I mean, unless you just
somebody. Well, if you want to going into our eventual topic, grading these are going to be a pain in the butt because they're white covers.
Yeah. Well, and some of them are purple and white, and
you know what I mean. Yeah. I'm like, this is going to make it so it's harder because it's solid colors instead of like what you're handing there is like it's It's not. Yeah, it's black and green, but it's not like crazy.
But those books, 120 days from now, I guarantee you they're all going to... And they spiked already. They spiked once, they went back down. They're going to spike again, and they're not going to come back down.
By the time this is airing, I've probably already bought them. If
So,
they're that low, I'm going to go buy some.
and some of those issues, I want to say even issue
I really want that dog one you showed me a long time ago.
That's a great book.
Where it's just from the dog's perspective, so it's not... And like, there's no words. Like, you see them talking, but it's like, wait, what's going on?
8, I can't remember.
And like the dog, you can see how the dog is trying to figure out what they're talking about with all these like word bubbles and stuff.
And he can only make out the words he's heard a whole bunch of times, like his name and food and go and sit. Everything else is like blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's great. And then the last one on my spec list, I have been specking these for a while, and I'll finally just give it up and just be like, okay.
This is the secret one you haven't told us yet.
I have been collecting up every horror movie comic book. Not even homage. Horror movie comic book. Friday the 13th. Halloween. Leatherface. Pumpkinhead.
So with the Conjuring
Evil
one that
Dead.
came out, you were picking that up too.
I am picking that up. But that was that was put out by DC. These other books were put out by like Topps Comics in like the 80s. You know? So anything like that, Underworld, and if it has a photo cover, those are even more. I'm more spec worthy even on the photo cover.
And what's the reason behind this? Just like because people are starting to love horror and horror more, or
I don't know if this is common knowledge, but there are a certain tier of books that have photo covers. Those photo covers are highly sought out. Again, one of the things to always spec on is something that has multiple fandoms. Okay? So comic books is a fandom.
Right.
Okay, comic book collecting is a thing. Movies is a fandom. Horror is a fandom. Actors have fan clubs. They have people who follow them. So now some overprinted, like Orphan Black. I mean, they put a photo cover in Loot Crate. I mean, so that book's not really worth anything because there's a million of them. But Charmed, Ghost Whisperer, Xena Warrior Princess, The Expanse, Battlestar Galactica. I mean, there's a bunch out there. And if you can, Buffy has some there. If it's a cover B or a cover C of a $30,000, $40,000 print run. So how many are there? There's 10,000 of them, you know? Or maybe less, like Ghost Whisperer, you know? I picked up a bunch of those and I sold those for ridiculous amounts of money.
Gotcha.
People are weird. And, Winona Earp. Winona Earp. Feel free to go on eBay and look up Winona Earp photo cover to a comic. And then look through it. And then maybe he'll put some here, some pricing.
I want to know.
Because it's dumb. But that show, I think it's on the USA Channel or Sci-Fi, it has a cult little following. And there isn't a lot of merchandise for that show.
Right, because it's a niche audience.
Yeah. So a photo cover of the actress who plays Winona Earp on the comic book makes it desirable for that niche audience. Now then you add in the comic book audience saying, oh, that's worth money, it doubles it up a little bit. So anything like that. Like I said, I've been scooping up the horror ones, especially the horror photo cover ones. I've got like a boatload of Underworld. Those have Kate Beckinsale on the cover. So, and then the other thing that follows this up, which will lead into our main story at the end, but you get a photo cover, and then that person shows up at a convention, and CGC is there, and you get Kate Beckinsale to sign your comic book in front of them, and you grade it, and it gets a 9.8, and all of a sudden you have a $1,000 book.
If no more.
So, you know. So and there are horror conventions.
Oh, yeah.
So easier access to people who played horror characters in horror movies.
Gotcha.
Unlike Comic-Con, where the audience might be too big to get to Kate Beckinsale, or the price might be too much to get a Kate Beckinsale autograph, it's not going to be that hard to get a Kane Hodder autograph on a Friday the 13th book. Mm-hmm. So, it's just something to think about. And it's like this other weird niche audience in comic books.
Gotcha.
Little horror IPs.
Yeah.